Melly. Well, the world premiere train keeps going. It's time to move to the world of Sonic. Any Sonic Hedgehog fans out there?
Here we
Sonic
go.
has had a pretty good year with the Sonic 2 movie,
Here
which is
we go.
this year.
Okay.
Well, Sonic Frontiers is in development, and we've
God,
got a brand
all
new
of a
trailer
sudden, my
for you
heart's
and
racing a lot.
confirmation of the release date too. Check this out.
Okay. There's a Coco. Oh, they sound really cute. Oh, ooh. Oh, there's Sonic.
Submit.
Oh, there's Sage.
These actions endanger the world.
Yo! Yo! Oh, there's a sand area! That looks... Wait. There's Amy!
Amy? Is that you?
Oh, shit! This music, too. The tone they're going for, it's insane. That was a new enemy. That's also new. Oh my god, bro. Discover the secrets of the age. Look at that!
You cannot run forever. Leave. Immediately.
Bro. He was ready to punch a child. That's crazy. Forge a new frontier. November 8th. Wow.
There you go. It
Hello everybody, my name is Citrus, and as you just saw, that was my reaction to the Sonic Frontiers Gamescom trailer, aka the Sonic Frontiers story trailer. That's what they're officially calling it. Man, that was a banger. That was such a crazy trailer. It was probably the last big trailer that we're gonna get, so they really went out with a bang. And now we just gotta talk about everything that was in there. There was so much stuff, and we need to discuss it, we need to analyze it. So let's just hop right into it. We're pretty much gonna do this as like a play-by-play of just everything in the trailer that I noticed, as well as some outside information that we got from the website, from Twitter, things like that, just to get a complete package of everything that was announced today. So first thing that we get to see is a little Coco. We get to hear it, we get to see it animated for the first time. It's really cute. And then it gets attacked by one of these giant titans, but of course Sonic comes in and saves it. We see a mysterious stranger. And then this is really interesting. We get to hear Sage talk for the first time, and her voice is definitely interesting. It sounds a little different than I was expecting, but pretty much on par with the vibe I was getting of like a little bit quiet, a little bit sort of monotone, but still sounding young and maybe a little robotic. After this, we get to see Sonic using this gear portal thingy, which we know is how he accesses these cyberspace levels, which is a nice little transition there. Overall though, this cutscene, I think the biggest thing that this shows is that there are going to be a lot of CG cutscenes in this game. We've seen this one, there is another one within this trailer which we'll get to. We saw one in the Nintendo Direct trailer, as well as the initial Sonic Frontiers reveal. So just from that alone, we have like 4 instances of cutscenes, technically 5 I think. I think that initial tease actually had 2 in there. So there's a lot of high quality CG here, which I find really interesting because Sonic Forces had basically no interesting or like really good CG. There was like 2 promotional CG trailers, but those weren't in the final game. They weren't cutscenes part of the story. Those were just there for marketing. Whereas these are definitely tied into the story and will definitely show up in the actual game, which I think is very cool because I don't think we've really had that since like Sonic Unleashed. Anyways, after this little cutscene thing, we get to see some more of the cyberspace levels, and something interesting I'd like to point out here, is, while this is a cyberspace level and it starts off like the same clip that we saw in the Nintendo Direct trailer, if you keep going, Sonic actually goes a different route, which I always like to see that. It's interesting. I think it's almost like a fake out, right? Like you think they're gonna go and it's like, oh, it's the same clip that we've seen before, but there's actually a different route to take. And you know, it's nice to see this, especially after Forces, where it was very linear. There weren't that many alternate paths to take. This seems really good. And then we get to see a completely brand new stage. Well, I say completely brand new. It's Sky Sanctuary. We've seen Sky Sanctuary before, obviously, but this is the first time we're seeing it in Frontiers, and it looks quite good. I mean, this trailer, when Sonic's boosting, the video quality just tanks. This is at maximum quality at 1080p, so it's a little hard to see some of the details because they're so fuzzy. But it looks different, especially compared to the Generations Sky Sanctuary level. It looks nice. It's a little linear. It definitely looks kind of hallway-esque. I'm not seeing any alternate pathing here, but it looks alright. It looks cool. I'm definitely interested in seeing more of it. And after this, we see Green Hill, which looks, you know, like Green Hill. I got nothing really to say about this. I mean, the interesting part here is the background. We kind of knew about this already from the initial Cyberspace reveal where they showed Green Hill. You can see that the background's all distorted. There's lots of random pieces of Green Hill in the sky, which is pretty cool. But in terms of the actual level design, I mean, it's 2D. It's the similar stuff that we've seen in the past where the boost levels go from 3D to 2D, transitioning between. And this looks like a 2D section, which not the hugest fan of, but whatever. I figure it's going to be such a small part of the game, it shouldn't bring down the experience that much, hopefully. Next, I talk more about the actual open world part of the game. And this is another thing that they were teasing on Twitter right before the actual Gamescom event happened, but a sand area. They start in this grassy plains that we've seen before. I believe this island of the game is called Kronos Island, or this one is called Ares Island or Ars Island. I'm not really sure how you pronounce it, but it has a name. It's a completely separate island, a completely separate location from the Kronos Island. And we see, you know, your typical platforming that we've seen quite a bit of, you know, springs and rails. This part is actually pretty interesting to me, where we see this sort of like sky. It's not quite wall jumping, but I would not know how else to put it. Sonic reaches this like floating panel in the sky, clings onto it, immediately jumps to the spring, moves on, move to the next spring. Now I think something important to note here is how weird the animation is for Sonic hitting the actual wall. We see Sonic flying through the air, and then as soon as he lands, he kind of stands on the wall for a second, and then boom. It just immediately gets to grabbing the wall, which looks a little jank, but I'm going to explain why I'm not really worried about this in a second with an example. Anyways, we'll talk more about animation in a second, because right now we have a little CG cutscene, and we can see Sonic kind of teleports over to this new location, a new gate, which I find interesting. I think I've heard about these gates being used as sort of quick travel across the map, as well as accessing the cyberspace levels. So I imagine it'll be like once you beat a cyberspace level, that'll unlock that gate to be used for quick travel, or if you just, you know, interact with the gate, maybe you don't necessarily have to complete the cyberspace trial. Either way though, this seems to be connecting from where Sonic left Sage to this new location, where, as we will see in a second, Amy is trapped in this weird looking orb thingy. It's kind of weird. She has this sort of holographic kind of look to her, where it doesn't look like it's really Amy, almost like a projection of Amy, which falls in line with the story so far that we've heard, which is Amy's stuck in cyberspace, Sonic needs to restore her memories. So I imagine this is probably some sort of like ghost of Amy that's been left in the regular world while her soul is kind of trapped in the cyber dimension. That's kind of me grasping at straws, but that's the only explanation I can really come up with, is that she's this sort of ghost, and because she still has some sort of presence in the real world, Sage or whoever has trapped her in this kind of orb prison thing. It's after this we also get Sonic's first actual spoken line. This is the first time we get to hear Roger actually talk in any of these trailers. We've heard him like make sound effects in the actual game. We've heard little bits of him like laughing or, you know, doing little noises when he punches, you know, that like, hooah, yeah, that kind of thing. This is the first time we've actually heard him talk though. Honestly, it's a little disappointing for me because he doesn't say a lot. This is the only line that we get in the whole trailer. But he basically says like, Amy, is that you? Which, I gotta say, threw me off for a little bit because maybe I just forgot, but Roger's Sonic voice is so damn deep. I forgot about that. And it's pretty interesting because I thought he was gonna be going for a more teenager kind of higher pitched voice. Like we've heard in some more recent roles. We kind of heard that in Team Sonic Racing. We heard that kind of in the Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 Sonic cameo thing, where the voices that he did for that were a little bit more high energy. I don't want to criticize his voice too much as it's just 2 lines, but it's a little deep for me, not gonna lie. It's very, very like, Amy, what are you doing here? It's like Chad Sonic almost. It's weird to hear. Anyways, moving on from there, after this, Sonic touches Amy and a flash of white happens. Now, I find this really interesting, and I think this is a bit of trailer editing magic where when Sonic touches Amy, I have a feeling that there's gonna be some sort of memory transfer or something that's happening there, since memories play such a big part in the story. Like some sort of flashback would happen here after he tries to touch Amy. Maybe it'll awaken Amy from her like sleep that she seems to be in, or Sonic will regain some of his own memories, as I believe Sonic has also lost some memories as well, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Either way, I think there's something that happens in between this white flash and Sonic coming out of the white flash. But anyways, after this we see Sonic turn around, which, can I just say, I don't know why this pose on. Let me move my goddamn head out of the way. Sonic just looks really cool here. I don't know what it is about it. It just reminds me of like Unleashed. He looks so sick. Of course, after this it zooms out. We get to see some of these little robot guys. I forgot what they're actually called, but these are pretty basic enemies in the Sonic Frontiers game. We've seen Sonic fighting a bunch of them. These are going to be your normal standard enemies. So what's notable about this to me is that they've given these guys their own sort of introduction through a CG cutscene, which tells me that this is probably pretty early on in the game, which would make sense. Sonic doesn't know about Amy yet. He still seems to be on bad terms with Sage and doesn't know who she is. It'd be cool if for each of these, different enemy types, we got some sort of cutscene that came alongside them, though I doubt it considering how many different enemies there are. But it's still cool, and Sonic's pose here, again, looks really sick. I love how he's posed here. Another really small thing, Sonic kind of blinks and looks back towards Amy. And that has me thinking, we don't hear it in the trailer, but I'm imagining that Amy might say something after this, which is why I think during that white flash, maybe Amy reawakened and got back some of her memories or something. And then during this, she says something which causes Sonic's eye to look back, or just something happening in general, maybe something with the pod, who really knows. Anyways, then Sonic looks back forward, tries to charge at the enemies, and then we get this really good fighting sequence. And I say really good, I've always been really into the combat for this game, but I say really good because the animations here have been cleaned up a lot since the initial gameplay trailers that we saw and other trailers that we've received. It looks a lot cleaner, it looks a lot better, and that's why when I was talking about the sort of, I don't know what you'd call this, it's like wall clinging animation where it looks kind of rough. That's why I'm not really worried about this, because if we move back to this combat part and we look at Sonic's punches and kicks, there's a lot of impact there with the camera shake, with these new effects that come off of Sonic's fist. Before, we didn't have these kind of sparks flying off. There was nothing there. Sonic just kind of did a little combo and moved on, which lessened the impact. It didn't look that cool, and overall it just didn't look great. It looked kind of unfinished, because clearly it was unfinished. They didn't put in the effects that were supposed to be going off around Sonic's fist, and now that they're there and the animations look a lot better, I have a good feeling about, a lot of the stuff that we considered jank before, a lot of the stuff that we were like, ooh, this game looks kind of unpolished. They're in the process of polishing this stuff, which is really, really exciting. And kind of going along with the whole thing of things are improving, things are looking better, we get to see the Psyloop again, which we've known about this for a long time. It was one of the first things they showed of Frontiers, but notably here, it is much faster than in some of the gameplay previews that we got and stuff like that, where people were saying that the Psyloop is way too slow. It looks clunky, it doesn't look fun to use. But now here, it looks quite fast. Sonic actually runs circles around these guys. And I think I know why this is. In Sonic Frontiers, we know that there's going to be a skill tree as well as a speed level up thing. You can upgrade Sonic's speed. And I believe what we were seeing before was likely a level 1 Sonic, He hadn't upgraded his speed yet, so it was pretty slow when he was running, when he's doing the Psyloop ability, all that kind of stuff that requires running and just deals with speed. Because he was at level 1, it didn't look that impressive, but now, I think the footage that they're showing us is later into the game. Obviously they're on a different island now, so Sonic's upgraded his speed a lot more, and the ability has gotten faster. Another example of, I think, maybe we were being too harsh. I mean, not necessarily, since we didn't have all the information that we were supposed to at the time, but now, looking back on that, we can say, oh, that wasn't Sonic being slow because the entire game is slow. That's Sonic being slow because it was just early in the game. We also have this ability, which looks absolutely sick. I love how this looks, and I don't think we've seen this before, but it looks crazy. Sonic just absolutely demolishing this robot thing, which, another thing that I don't think we've seen. I don't know what enemy type this is, but Sonic destroys it, kind of does a dash out of it, which I really like, because then it immediately takes him to this other enemy, which looks like it might be the same type as the other one. I'm not really sure, but something of note here is that it has this laser eye thing and is immediately trying to track onto Sonic, but of course Sonic pops it before it can even shoot at him. That's one thing that I think this game needs major props for. There are so many different enemy types. We're not even done with all the enemy types in the trailer. There are so many enemies to go over in this game. It's gonna be crazy. This might even, I'd say, be the most amount of enemy variety that we've had in a Sonic game. Don't quote me on that, but I'm trying to think about Unleashed. There were 4 or 5 different kinds of the shadow enemies, and then in terms of Eggman's robots in those games, there were again, similar amount, 4 or 5 different Eggman variety types. And then, Colors, Lost World, games like Generations didn't really have much enemy variety. So in terms of mainline 3D Sonic games, this legit might have the most variety of enemies that we've ever seen. After this though, we also get another cleaned up animation. This was an attack that we saw in the Nintendo Direct presentation, and a lot of people were kind of clowning on it because of Sonic's pose that he hits at the end. Because there was no pose. Sonic did this little effect, and then he stood in the middle without any pose. As we can clearly see now, Sonic is doing a pose. He's doing this kind of cool action-y pose before his magic multiple Sonic ball things attack somebody. I don't know, this is kind of goofy to me, but I also really like it. It's very anime with just multiple I don't know, it's Shadow Clone Jitsu, but for Sonic. It's crazy. And then after this, another new enemy, this one seemingly either being a boss or mini-boss. It looks pretty cool, and again, Sonic's doing this Psyloop ability around him, although this time it is noticeably slower. I'm not sure if that's just a camera trick where the camera is pulled back a little bit so it looks kind of slow, or if the enemy is just that big that it takes a while to get around him. Not really sure there. After this, we see this move, which we've seen before. It was one of the first moves that we saw of Frontiers. It looks so clean, man. It's still one of my favorite moves that we've seen so far, because it's just boom, 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 just non-stop kicks from Sonic, looking super clean, and then just sending these projectile waves. It looks awesome. Let me say, discover the secrets of the ancients. We'll talk more about this once we get to the website, but secrets of the ancients. That's an interesting little tagline there. And this, bro. Oh my god. This is insane. This is so raw, bro. Look at that. Look at Sonic's hand. I have no idea what's going on in this cutscene. As we move on from here, we see all the enemies start blowing up, seemingly because of Sage. It doesn't seem like Sonic did anything to them. And then we see Sonic kind of buckle to the ground because of his hand. This sort of infection that's going on. It's hard to tell exactly what's happening. I'm not sure if this is a Breath of the Wild 2 situation where Sonic's been like infected. We can see it goes away pretty quickly, but we're not sure if that means that he'll be fine forever after this, like it was just a one-time attack, or if it's just something that comes and goes in waves due to Sonic's presence on the island. The reason I think that is because I remember early on in Frontier's sort of marketing push, when they were trying to describe the story for the game, they mentioned how it wasn't just a race to save Sonic's friends, but also to save himself. And I'm wondering if that has to do with this sort of infection he has going on in his hand. Anyways, then Sonic looks up, sees Sage, who's saying a bunch of nonsense again. Sonic does something really funny here. He just immediately gets up, runs at her, tries to fucking punch her, bro. Look at this. Man's coming in, throws the punch, but of course gets blasted away at the last second. But I just think it's so funny that Sonic wants to throw hands with a girl who looks like she's 9. And this is a cutscene that we've seen from the Nintendo Direct trailer, although a little bit extended. We actually get a close-up on Sonic's face. He looks around and sees this, which is another shot from the Direct trailer. We see Sage along with her big Titan boss thing. Judging from how they're portraying this guy, I imagine he'll be like the final boss, you know, as like the ultimate Titan, and could also be the Titan that we saw in the initial teaser for Sonic Frontiers, where, you know, this big foot thing slams down on the ground, a bunch of like dust goes up. It's hard to say since we don't know what this guy's foot looks like, so we can't say if they are the same, but this guy looks pretty big. I can imagine that he would be the guy, unless that dude is actually a different guy and there's an even bigger robot somewhere. Like, that would be crazy. And then after this we get Forge a New Frontier, Sonic Frontiers, and we get that release date, November 8th, 2022. And at the tail end, we get the box art for the game, which, I'm not gonna lie, as much as I like this render, it's super cool, it's super clean. It's a little disappointing since we've already seen it before. I was kind of hoping that they would have some new artwork for the box, but it's still a really clean render. It's been my background for like months now. I really like how it looks, and it looks clean as box art. And something of note here that I think I should mention, on the PS4 and Xbox One versions of this game, they say that you can upgrade to the PS5 version and the Xbox Series versions, you know, through the systems that they have on Xbox and PlayStation. They're both kind of different. Xbox calls it their smart delivery system, whereas the PS4 copy just says that you can upgrade to the PS5 version. There's also a little digital bonus for pre-ordering the game. You'll receive the Adventurer's Treasure Box, where you get blue seeds of defense, skill points, and red seeds of power. And something just of note here, other than the fact that it's a pre-order bonus, is we finally got names for these things. I don't believe we've heard the term blue seeds of defense or red seeds of power. Now normally that would be where it ends for our coverage of the Sonic Frontiers trailer, since the trailer is over, but obviously more information comes out through these different retailers, through little press releases, things like that. And the first thing I want to talk about, since we are on the subject of cover art and of, you know, the general box information, if you pre-order the game through GameStop or Best Buy, then you will receive this little steelbook, which, if you notice, is actually the Sonic render for Frontiers that we've seen before, except it's a little different now. Sonic's actually looking back at us and he's smiling, which I actually like. It looks a little different than the kind of stoic nature that we saw in the original render. It has a bit more of a playful energy. I kind of like it. I feel like it fits Sonic's personality more, because angry Sonic just never really makes sense to me. I feel like Sonic he's mostly a positive, happy character. Even when the situation is dire, he still has kind of a sort of smug, sort of positive outlook, and I feel like that better represents it. And also, just a sick steelbook, I think that's really cool, and I think I'm gonna be picking it up from one of these guys in order to get that steelbook. And lastly, let's go over to the official Sonic Frontiers webpage. They finally updated it. I don't know if anyone else was checking in on this website before this trailer happened, but they had not updated it at all. It was still using the old logo. It still only had the initial teaser up, no new teasers alongside of it. But now we can see it's all fancy now. You got this video in the background, got the updated logo, as well as some new information. Now we go here. There's nothing really that new here. We've seen this all before, the trailer, the teaser, these screenshots, which I'm pretty sure we have seen before. The new information really starts down here in the text, where we can see race across 5 massive overworld islands brimming with dense forests, overflowing waterfalls, and sizzling desert landscapes, each with their own unique action platforming challenges and hidden secrets to uncover. Now, this is obviously really big news. 5 islands. They've confirmed that there will be 5. And judging from the trailers, it seems we've only seen 2 of them. We've seen Kronos Island, and we've seen the Desert Airs Island, or Ars Island. I still don't know how to pronounce that. And that is very, very exciting to me. The fact that there are still 3 whole islands that we haven't seen before, I'm assuming they'll also have unique themes. They won't just be repeats of deserts and forests. They'll have, you know, a snowy island. They'll have more of a lava or island or something, you know, crazy stuff like that. I would really enjoy seeing those. And it just shows me that even with this being kind of their ultimate really big reveal trailer, we're going to be getting a lot of information in the future. There's definitely more to come. Maybe not in such a big blowout trailer like this, but just little stuff here and there to just be like, hey, look at this new environment, hey, look at this, hey, look at that, here's the new music theme, things like that. The next quote talks about all the things that you can do. So they mention side quests, puzzles, scale enormous structures, go fishing, which I like. I just like hearing that officially from Sonic themselves, because we've heard about it in interviews and stuff that you can go fishing with Big the Cat, but it's nice that they mentioned it here, as well as encountering a friendly face or 2 along the way, which I imagine is referring to Tails, Amy, Knuckles, who we all know are gonna be in the game. These 2 blurbs don't really mention anything of note. However, this one actually talks a little bit about the story, kind of describing more of what we've seen so far. It says, "Become Sonic and journey to uncover the mysteries of the remains of an ancient civilization plagued by robotic hordes. With nothing but a handful of questions and a disembodied voice to guide you, set out to save your friends and the enigmatic inhabitants of the Starfall Islands from a colossal, mechanized threat." Now, this is really interesting to me, as from what we had understood before this, they said that the technology on the Starfall Islands was ancient. It was ancient technology from this ancient civilization. But now they're saying that it was an ancient civilization that was plagued by robotic hordes, which is a little confusing. I'm not sure what that necessarily means for the story. Eggman originally came to the Starfall Islands to try and use the ancient technology to his benefit, and he was the one who actually tried to use his brand new AI called Sage to try and take over, but then obviously she kind of turned on him and took over the island. So with that, I imagine that these robots were probably peaceful at one point before Eggman came and kind of ruined everything with Sage and with his AI. So I think plagued by robotic hordes would mean that they were probably fine before, since they were the ancient technology and, you know, they were chill, but then they became kind of violent and trying to harm people through Sage. And why Sage is doing this, we have no idea, but we'll just have to wait and see in the game. I don't imagine that that's something that they'll reveal right now. And then down here we just have some pre-order information. You got the digital standard edition, the digital deluxe edition, and there's a physical coming soon, but you can still pre-order it off of like Amazon, GameStop and stuff. I just want to quickly go over this just to describe what actually comes with this stuff, because there is some interesting notable stuff in here. We know about the Adventurer's Treasure Box, we just went over it, the skill points, Seeds of Power, the Seeds of Defense, but if you get the Deluxe Edition, there's actually a different treasure box that you additionally get if you pre-order the Digital Deluxe. I made that sound really confusing. Basically, the Digital Deluxe version gives you Amy's memory keys, a portal gear, Chaos Emerald vault keys, and additional gloves and shoes for Sonic, as well as a digital art book with a 25-track digital mini soundtrack. Now, this stuff, the Amy's memory tokens, portal gear, Chaos Emerald vault keys, those are all just items in-game that you would get through natural progression, so those are kind of whatever, we don't need to talk about those. What is interesting is the additional gloves and shoes for Sonic, because we have not heard anything about customization in this game. This was one of my big hopes for Frontiers, that we would get some kind of customization where Sonic can wear different gloves, different shoes, things like that. It was one of the things that I really wanted to see, and more specifically, I wanted it to be better than the customization that we've seen in Sonic Colors Ultimate, where it was just different colors of gloves and different colors of shoes. I wanted to see full model changes for the shoes, where Sonic is wearing a completely different set of shoes, you know, like the soap shoes, or the Sonic Riders shoes, or whatever the case may be. Just different actual variations of shoes, as well as gloves. I don't know necessarily what they could do for changing gloves, but just like actual different models of gloves rather than just changing the color. With this, we're not really sure what they mean. It could mean just color swaps, or it could mean something cooler like adding in different modeled shoes, but we'll have to wait and see. What I'm hoping though is that it's not just a pre-order bonus. I'm hoping that in the actual game, maybe in different shops and things like that, you can actually purchase different shoes and gloves for Sonic, not just the ones that are included here, but other stuff, you know, like just a whole slew of customization, because that stuff is just really fun. And the very last thing that I want to talk about, because Lord have mercy, I feel like I'm losing air in my lungs talking about this game. We're here on the Sonic Frontiers Steam page to talk about something that's actually not very cool. It's actually kind of lame. If you scroll down here, you can see this little marker incorporates third-party DRM, aka DeNuvo. Now, if you don't know what DeNuvo is, it's something that certain game companies will put onto their game to try and combat piracy, which would be fine, except it makes the game run way worse because it's using a lot of resources to run DeNuvo in the background, as well as not actually working that well to prevent piracy. So you're wasting resources on your computer trying to run this game with this unnecessary sort of attachment when it doesn't even do what it's set out to do. And I believe it also prevents you from playing the game offline, which is just another annoying thing. If your internet goes out, you can't play Sonic Frontiers on your PC. But with that said, that is all the Sonic Frontiers news that we have received today. That was a lie. There's actually a lot more news to cover because this day just keeps on getting crazier. The Japanese version of the Sonic Frontiers story trailer came out, and with it we actually got some information on the Japanese pre-order of the game. For starters, they're getting completely different box art. They're using the other render that we received of Sonic looking all stoic, running into the distance, as well as different pre-order bonuses. They are getting a physical art book for Sonic Frontiers, as well as a little plush toy thing of one of the Cocos. Now, something interesting about the art book is we see an image of Sonic inside of a cave, seemingly on the Ares Island, the Sandy Island, but we haven't seen that before. We haven't seen Sonic enter any sort of cave, which is really exciting. And on top of that, they announced a bunch more merchandise. They have acrylic standees, postcards, stickers, as well as something that is just completely insane, a collab with Korone, the VTuber. She's an official brand ambassador of Sonic and loves Sonic, so it kind of makes sense, but at the same time some of these bonuses are really weird. You get to see Sonic's first customizable pair of shoes and gloves themed around Korone using her color scheme, and notably actually changing some of the modeling on the glove, where Sonic's buckle turns into 2 dog bones, as well as adding little dog bones onto Sonic's glove. Not a huge change, but it is notable since they are changing the model for this specific skin, and I'm hoping we see even bigger changes with some of the in-game customization options. You can also customize the Cocos, apparently. This is something really weird. They show in this Corona DLC that they made the Cocos look like these talking heads. I don't know much about Corona, but I'm pretty sure this is the icon she uses for her audience, so you can make them look like that, which is good. And quite possibly the strangest thing to me, you can change Sonic's voice to be Corona's voice. So she can just be the voice of Sonic in this game. Almost every week, Sonic fans have this debate about who is the best Sonic voice actor, whether it's Ryan Drummond, Jason Griffith, or Roger Craig Smith, or even left field options like Ben Schwartz or even Jaleel White. But we are now living in a timeline where in the near future, an unironic statement will be made where someone will say, "My favorite Sonic voice actors is Inugami Corona." Zero sarcasm in their voice, deadpan serious. They will say that she is their favorite Sonic voice, and we will have to take their word as fact, because this is a real reality that we are living in. Anyways, that's actually all the Sonic news. I am so tired. I'm just trying to get this video done and out there, so I'll see you guys whenever we have more Sonic stuff to talk about. God, I'm pretty tired. But anyways, that is all the Sonic Frontiers news that we have received today. What a fantastic day to be a Sonic fan. I am so goddamn excited for this game. It's looking incredible. It's looking super cool. I just absolutely cannot wait, and I cannot wait to see some more stuff in the future as they slowly kind of give us little details here and there. I'd love to hear the full music theme. I'd love to see more stuff like what fishing with Big looks like, what Amy does, some of the different shops, how to interact with the Cocos. Things like that I'm expecting to see in the near future, and you can best be assured that we will be talking about it here on the channel. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, click that like button, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, because you know damn well that we're going to be covering a lot more of this game. Comment down below your thoughts on the trailer, if you loved it, if you hated it, what you were happy with, what you were disappointed with, all that stuff, let me know down below. And once again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all later. Peace.